Welcome back into the American studios for American Basketball Media Day. Mark Adams, Brooke Weisbrod, Morgan Uber with you here in the American studios. And up next, we're talking the Memphis Tigers. Katrina Merriweather in her second season at Memphis. One of the things, Brooke, when you talk to Coach Merriweather, she wants players who play with passion. How did that play out for her in year one?
Oh, very, very well. You know, what I thought Memphis did well was get better as this season went on. You know, trusting the process, trusting Coach Merriweather, who has a very successful background. You know, I think this is a season they could finish in the top four. I think this is a season you could see postseason for the Tigers. They've got a good player in Madison Griggs and Jamirah Shutes, who gives them scoring, gives them some experience. Again, this is still a Memphis team, a little bit young, still rebuilding a bit, but they're gaining momentum, Mark, really fast.
You know, I have a message to my wife, Judy. I love Katrina Merriweather, and I don't care who knows it. I watched her build the program at Wright State. I live very close to that campus. I spoke to her team, and she just runs a tremendous first-class program. I'm so happy for her success, and it's carrying over to Memphis right now. Memphis will be a national championship contender under Katrina Merriweather.
Well, let's welcome Coach Merriweather right now into the American studios. Coach, for you, going on year 7 as a head coach between Wright State, like Mark mentioned, and then now here in year 2 at Memphis, I'm curious, how has your coaching style really evolved throughout your time as a head coach and what you're headed into now here at year 2 at Memphis?
Well, first of all, thank you for all those amazing compliments. I really don't want to say anything because I can only mess it up after you've all spoken. But thank you for that. I think that the transition has definitely been fun because I've grown and I had some tremendous mentors along the way. Everybody knows that I was with Mike for 6 years, Bradbury, and took a lot of our coaching styles from him, had some experiences in club ball, you know, that allowed me to do things and maybe see things a little differently. If anything has morphed, I think it would be that I went from understanding what it meant to be a player's coach to be a teaching coach. And one of the things that we spend a lot of time doing is making sure that we are really getting to the fundamentals of things, where we are explaining a lot of why we do certain things. So there's been a little bit of growth there for me too. And what's really been cool for me is just this past weekend, I got a chance to talk to Emily Vogelpohl and Mackenzie Taylor, who you all would be familiar with. And I grew up with them. You know, they were my first class and first people I got a chance to coach. So, you know, they don't have the benefit of this more seasoned Trina, but it did remind me how far I've come as well.
Hey, Coach, Brooke Weisbrod, great to be talking with you. I know that you hired your sister, Katrina, to join your staff. And at the American tournament, you know, we talked a little bit of astrological signs. You're a Leo. She is a Cancer. So I'm wondering kind of how those two are going to mesh on the staff this year. You have emotion and leadership. How does that go?
Well, the good part is that everybody around here is family. You know, I've known Abby since she was 15, Ashley since she was 8, Devin since she was 8, you know, Sal and Jalise have played for us. So the good part is that I've already been working with family. So you add Brina into the equation, and let's just say she's got a far more joyous personality than me. I think people enjoy her being around. We kind of nickname her Joy. She walks around practice making the heart. So I think we balance each other really well, but I'm very, very happy, and I'm sure everybody will get a kick out of this. I told her I'm happy that she's as good as I thought she was, because now I don't have to figure out a way to fire her, which can make Thanksgiving and Christmas very, very awkward.
Coach Merriweather, it's Mark Adams. Great to see you again. And, you know, one thing as I was preparing for the show today, I recognized that your grandfather actually played with Oscar Robertson at the University of Cincinnati. And so your basketball lineage goes way, way back. And you mentioned in your opening comments that you went from a player's coach to a teacher's coach. So, Katrina Merriweather, what are your strengths as a teacher, and what things are you working on as an educator?
Well, I think for us, it's developing holistically, which we've tried to do from the very beginning, but I think we're just better at it now. Everyone knows, you know, you give a man a fish and they won't go hungry for a day. You teach them to fish, they don't go hungry for the rest of their life. And I feel like that is more of an approach that I take the older that I've gotten. Early on in my career, I think it was a lot more about, hey, I know your life is tough. How can we help you? How can we take things off your plate so that you can perform? And now we spend a lot of time really teaching more life skills and how you manage your stress, not avoid it, how we come up with healthy coping mechanisms for all the pressure that they are under, whether it be from social media or performance-based or academically. I think that does go back to where my grandfather and Oscar played together, and then my father has the family, which is a youth mentoring organization, and same difference, right? Where we're just trying to figure out ways to use basketball as a vehicle, to build character, to make sure that at the very core, we're developing great young women.
Coach, thanks for joining us. We'll have a question from Terry Davis at the Tri-State Defender.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Hey, Coach, I know with basketball coaches, it's all about culture and doing a lot of little things. That first year you go into doing something, it's a hard road. But how has the transition been from the first year to the second year in developing the culture to do the little things to get those W's?
Well, I know I said it plenty of times in the first year. Without the buy-in from the team a year ago, we aren't able to take steps forward. I know I heard the word momentum, and that's how we feel. We'll feel like we're taking really positive steps forward. But that's all about the leadership that we have. We have Jamirah Shutes and Madison Griggs and Imani Jefferson, that play at our 1, 2, and 3 spot. And they are bought in. They're in great shape. And I think that them a year ago had a lot to do what we were able to do. And so we look forward to building off of that for this next year, too.
Coach, international tours back in college basketball. Your team had the opportunity to take one this summer to Greece, finishing a perfect 3-0 there on the court. But I'm curious to know, what did you learn about your players off the court while you were there overseas?
Well, we always take the time to read a couple of books throughout the year. And in the summertime, we read the 4 Agreements. And so we were able to have a couple of discussions while we were there. And it really just opens up the doors for us to talk about life in general, and how important it is to be a good person, but to listen to other people, to be compassionate, to be empathetic, to give people the same grace and mercy that we need ourselves. And I think that spurred a lot of conversations where people opened up, whether it be about their childhood or their basketball experience. And I think that what they found out is that despite coming from different places all over the country and being different ages and being different levels of experience, that they have a lot in common. And so that was the best part about learning about them off the floor.
Coach, I don't think you're going to take anyone by surprise this year. You've got such great talent and returners, Madison Griggs, Jamirah Shutes, 2 great players who could bring you some offense. What do you think is that next step to not only maybe finish in a Final Four position in the American, but to get that postseason berth?
I think we have to be better defensively. I think that there was plenty of talent here. We were able to put points on the board for the most part all last year, but we didn't have the connectivity that we really wanted to have defensively. So we spent an unbelievable amount of time making sure that we went back to the basics. There's a lot of 4-4 shell going on, a lot of 1-1, 2-2, you name it. We're doing every drill that we can come up with just to really build some confidence and make sure that we have pride in what we can do defensively, because defensive rebounding, it travels, and we all know that. So in any given night, sure, we have great offensive players and we could score 70, 80 points. But what we really want to do is focus on keeping our opponents under 60. That way, when we do have those off nights, we don't have to worry about not winning the game.
Coach Merriweather, thank you so much for your time. Really looking forward to seeing your team tip off here in just a few short weeks.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. See you soon.
Brooke, when you're listening to Coach Merriweather talk about her program, how she runs practices, what really stood out to you?
Oh, I got a headache thinking about that 4-4 shell drill. Oh, so many nightmares with that. But she's right. It has to be defense. And Mark, you mentioned it before. The defensive rebounding, it travels well. So Memphis has to take that next step of learning how to defend in tough situations and learning how to win. What are those last moments of a game going to look like? Because once you start executing that, you trust each other, and you can go back to those things where you worked really hard to play defense. You're going to shut down someone in that last minute and win that game, and then that will build the confidence to start getting those W's in a row.
And in Memphis, basketball is really, really important, both on the men and the women's side, obviously the NBA as well, and all in the same building. And Katrina Merriweather is a coach that has built her resume based upon that toughness, based upon that defense. And I saw that firsthand with her. And I saw her players buy in at Wright State. And now we're seeing the same metamorphosis of the team coming together defensively first under Katrina Merriweather. It's going to be a fun season for the Memphis fans.
One of those tough players, Jamirah Shutes, she announced that she would come back for this 5th year here in March and was named to the all-conference second team, along with Jillian Hayes, who we had a chance to talk with here this morning. But when you look at Jamirah Shutes' game, and she's faced some adversity, lots of injuries throughout her career, but Brooke, what can she really bring? What's her X factor?
It is the experience, the talent, and the leadership, but she also dropped 43 points and then followed the night up with 46 points in a high school tournament game. So she can score. Led her team in scoring last season, and she's going to have to set that tone. Hopefully she stays healthy, because I love her toughness, and I love the way this team does buy into Coach Merriweather's system.
You know, an opportunity comes wrapped in really strange packages sometimes. In 2019, the ACL tear, you know, you get a chance to step back as a player and think about, okay, here's my teammates. You get a chance to spend some time with your coach, see how people play, but you also get to look introspectively. If I ever get the chance again, what will I do? How will I leverage this next opportunity? And she has leveraged the opportunity extremely well, a 1,000-point career scorer.
Let's welcome in Jamirah Shutes right now into the American studios, along with her teammate, Madison Griggs. Madison, Jamirah, thank you both so much for joining us today. Really looking forward to seeing your team here. You know, Jamirah, I really want to ask you, for you to make the decision to come back, you announced it on social media in March. What are you looking to accomplish here in your final season at Memphis?
A lot of wins, a lot of surprises. I came back because this is family. I knew maybe that I could do something different, but instead this was my calling. Like, this is the place for me.
Ladies, how you doing? Brooke Weisbrod in the studio. Great to see you. And, you know, thinking back to last year's American tournament and the momentum that you started to build there, did that leave a kind of a taste in your mouth and a chip on your shoulder to say, all right, we know we can be successful? And did you have the conversations right then to say, all right, next year, this is where we're going to be?
Yeah, we definitely did have a chip on our shoulder after the South Florida game. We knew what we needed to do after that and what we wanted to accomplish after that. So we definitely did have a chip on our shoulder after the last game in the conference tournament.
Madison, this is Mark Adams in the studio. You've got so many made threes. You're 4th all-time on the Memphis list of made threes. Give me a tutorial as to why you're so successful. What things should I look for in your jump shot as to why you're one of the great three-point shooters in America?
I go to the gym all the time and shoot. I've been doing that since I was young. So it's just repetitions over the years. So, yeah, that's really it. Just being in the gym all the time and just getting shots up, you know, when you really don't want to, but you have to. So, yeah, that's it, getting in the gym, putting shots up, and repetition.
Does it start with your feet, or does it start with your elbow, or how does it start?
It definitely starts with your feet, and then my form and shooting, I guess, you know, to get it off quick. But definitely starts with my feet, and then my arms, and then my follow-through.
Thank you.
I had the opportunity to be on the sidelines for your games last season during the American tournament. And one of the things that your coach had told me to watch out for is just how many bench warnings that this team gets, saying that you guys probably lead the entire conference in bench warnings because of how much fun and excitement you all are having. But another thing she said was that players were competing into March for playing time. So I want to know, is that coach-driven, player-driven? How has that really played out amongst this team and just the competition level on the court for you all?
I would say that we play for each other as is. I mean, yes, we always compete for playing time. It doesn't matter, like, beginning of the season, preseason, postseason. Like, we are still competing for playing time. So I wouldn't say that makes us like jealous of each other or feel the type of way about each other. We just know that in order to be as good as we want to be, that's just what we have to do.
Thank you both so much for taking the time to join us. Really looking forward to seeing your team tip off here in just a few short weeks.
Thank you.